Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today. I'm doing amazing. Thanks for asking. Today I want to talk to you about the FansToys Blitzwing. Is it Berserk or is it Blitzkrieg? And it just really depends on what name they're going to officially land on. But it is their Blitzwing. It is getting either A, canceled, B, delayed, both. Well, it actually is both. We'll talk about this. It seemed like all in one day, I saw like 6 posts about people saying that they got theirs canceled from BBTS. Some said Chosen Prime. I don't know if it was all of the stores canceled them all at the same time and on the same day, but I do know that Shozi didn't cancel mine, and I'll get into why Shozi didn't cancel mine. But today's video is not just about the cancellation of Blitzwing from FansToys. It's also about, is it really necessary to wait for FansToys? Even if you're a FansToys fanboy and you want everything FansToys, is it worth the wait when there's other really good items out there? We're going to talk about this and more coming up. Alright, so what's the email that's getting everybody upset? Well, we regret to inform you that all pre-orders have been canceled for this item because the manufacturer will not be producing it at this time. We apologize for the inconvenience. Thank you for your continued business. If you have any other questions, contact customer service for assistance. Here's the thing. It sounds like, oh, they canceled it. They're not going to make it. We're never going to get it. It's never going to happen. But there's speculation on a couple angles of this, but we already know what happened in the past. So first of all, a lot of these retailers, the US retailers, they put up the price and they have to hold that price. They have to honor whatever price it was. And originally this thing was like $150, then they took it down and put it back up for $220. And now they're canceling the $220s. Is my understanding. I've just got mine pre-ordered through Shozi. I was doing a backup with TF Source a lot of the time, but that was back when you could barely get pre-orders from anywhere, and if TF Source was there with their pre-orders, usually they charge the most, so their pre-orders last a little bit longer, so I used a backup there. But we're not really having the problem where you can't secure a pre-order anymore. If you try, you're getting your pre-order. So that was the first thing, was the price situation. If FansToys can no longer deliver it for the price expectation, then we have that situation that they cancel them, and then we get the new price of $220. Well, I don't know what the new price is going to be when they go back up. Hopefully not $300. But then you can look at these pictures here. So when looking at these two pictures, you look on the left is in my mind, from what I've seen, the first earliest pictures and drafts of it. And on the right is what we're more or less closer to what we're going to get. You can see so many differences. The way the shoulders are handled, the way the top of the shoulders, the middle of the shoulders, the chest is more flat on the old one on the left. The new one on the right, it's more curved. You got more detail on the thighs, and the biggest difference from what I see is it just feels like the lower legs are much bigger and bulkier and stockier, and I think a lot of that has to do with, if you look at the hip area, the hip area is more ratcheted, I believe, to hold up the upper body. So I believe it's getting completely revamped, but it already was getting completely revamped before. So it's like, so you've redone this already, and now you're going back to ground zero. You're going back to the chalkboard, back to the drawing board. I mean, it's strange that it's already been delayed and now it's getting delayed again. Now, one of the biggest competitors, in my opinion, when they first set out was, or not even when they first set out, like 2 years after they first set out, was KFC Ditka. And this one was extremely top heavy, back heavy. Having this thing stand up straight was a challenge to stand up on its own. I just literally just leaned it against the back wall, and it looks great. KFC Ditka looks great. You just gotta lean it back against the wall and make sure it doesn't fall, and you're fine. If you expect it to stand on its own, it's gonna shelf dive. It's gonna topple. Unless you maybe put a stand with it or something along those lines. But yeah, Ditka itself, not the greatest in standing. And FansToys doesn't want to have that problem. But this figure is a very top-heavy figure. If you transform it the way it sort of needs to transform, it's a top-heavy figure. I really believe they re-engineered. Maybe they moved some of the parts to the lower legs from the upper body. That's always been my thought process on it. But they had to take some weight off the top and put it in the lower area and tighten up them ratchets, make them super stiff so it could stand on its own. Of course, there is that old theory. The original designers quit and left, and they had to start from scratch for that reason. Now, since Show Z puts their products up and they charge you a deposit, usually it's only $1, $3, $5, but FansToys products have been a bit higher priced. They're still taking pre-orders for $40. They have not been notified from FansToys. It's my belief that they have not been notified that this is canceled, that this is not going to ever get made. So with that presumption, a lot of people are saying that it's just been on pre-order for so many years that BBTS is clearing it out of its system. But, I mean, that's a good idea too, because it's been in there for so many years. But it was just 2 years ago that they cleared it out of everyone's system, and you had to re-pre-order it anyway. So I guess I kind of understand that thought process. So any pre-order that's longer than 2 years gets cleared out and has to get put back up. I can't think of any other pre-orders that have lasted longer than 2 years, other than some Super 7 stuff during the 2020 debacle. You know, that was an issue, but none of that stuff got canceled. But this is, I guess, a little bit different ball game because FansToys is a very predominant company that generally gets the stuff out, and this is the one straggling product. Well, one of the 4 stragglers that are out there. Yes, I do see it is $40 down, a $40 deposit to put it down. At first I was kind of turned off by that, but when the item arrives and I pay that much less. Like I just paid for the cassettes and it was only like $80 or something instead of the full $120 or something along those lines because I had a deposit down on it. It made it a little easier paying for these Blasters cassettes. So the deposit doesn't really bother me that much anymore. Just for the FansToys stuff. It's not for everything. So do I think that this Berserk or Blitzkrieg or whichever name it's going to be called is canceled? I don't think it's actually canceled. I think it's just delayed, and re-delayed. Now, I want to say that we kind of get into a portion of talking about waiting for FansToys. And is it really a good idea to wait for FansToys for everything? And there are a lot of people that have been passing on all of these other options for Blitzwing. And some people even saying that they're really upset that Thomas came before Blitzwing, which that's true. It got announced years after, and it's already come and gone and had repaints and recolors and reissues and all that kind of stuff. And this thing still isn't made yet. But I think that you really can't go wrong with the Star Toys. This is the Star Toys on the right. On the left is a KFC Dick. And I want to point out, and I said it in my review though, and yes, I did make a review. This is my screenshot from my review, my clickbait for my review. The KFC Dick on the left looks good. And I actually thought it was like super cartoon accurate, perfect representation of the cartoon until I got Star Toys. And then I started looking at cartoon cells and going, Star Toys is even closer and even better. And I think the one that came out in 2024, the reissue of Star Toys, is going to be even closer to the colors. If you look at this picture here, the reissue that's up for pre-order at places, Show Z is one of them, TH Reviewer Code, if you want to help the channel out. The one on the right is the 2024 version, the one that should be coming this year. It's not as pale in the tan area, so it has the upper body tan area is a little more tan, but not quite as dark as we saw with the Didka. And so it's more cartoon accurate in that respect. I did kind of feel like it was a little bit on the light side, but not enough to bother me or put me off. But if I would pick from the first run of Star Toys and the 2024, I'd probably go with the 2024. The other thing is you can see the purples are a little bit different, but I would also say that as companies make these things, which people say Star Toys is same people as Deformation Space, same people as Transform Element. I don't know for sure, but all I know is that this wasn't their first action figure they've ever made. But as they make things, they refine them. As X-Transbots makes their figures and they do reissues, they refine them. FansToys does some refinements too, and they did it with their bugs, and that's just what happens. That's what happens, is that companies refine them, make them a little bit better as they put out reissues. And it's just one of those things. I'm happy with the first one. I don't need a second version of Star Toys, and I can also wait for the FansToys. Now, I mentioned that Blitzwing is one of 4 figures that has been delayed for years. And Superion, we should be completing Superion. We just got the Viper, and we will be getting the Jester to be the other arm and to finish up the whole Superion situation. And could you imagine? Well, I don't know. I really can't imagine having gone the last 5 years and not having Superion on my shelf. I mean, I bought the Zeta and I completed it as it was coming out. But for me personally, Superion's my favorite combiner. I mean, I like him better than a Devastator. It means more to me than Devastator. It means more to me than any of the other ones. It's just my favorite. As a kid, it was my favorite. The concept of the way the jets shrink down to the backs, that's just amazing to me. And so with that, I had to have the Zeta right away. But I can't imagine just sitting around going, I'm waiting for FansToys for 5 years, or 4 years, or 5 years, or how long it's taken, and not having some representation on the shelf. It would have bothered me. I would have broke down and bought a Zeta somewhere between 2019 and now. But I'm happy to have it. But was it worth it really to wait for the FansToys? And will the FansToys look better and be better? Yes. It probably look $200-$300 better. Not going to look $1,000 better. And that's just the honest truth. The FansToys one's not going to look $1,000 better. It's going to look a couple $100 better. And we got one more here. It's the Bandit, I think is the name of the one that we're waiting on for Minnesota. Now I've got 2. I've got the X-Transbots one, which that was a whole fun ball game to get the X-Transbots one. You start out with the first figure for 40, then the next 2 are like 50, and then they go up to 70, and then you buy the Motormaster for 130, and the trailer's 200, and it's just like, that was a nightmare. And the trailer's a nightmare to transform. Well, this one is DX9, and for $400 you get the DX9 one. If I were to recommend for combined mode, simplistic, looks good, stands well, stands solid, I would recommend DX9. The X-Transbots one, I do think it looks a little more premium, but the DX9 just is so solid, it's so easy to handle, it doesn't feel like you're going to break it, it's not fiddly in the transformation. And anyway, but I couldn't imagine not having a Minosaur on my shelf the last few years, and there's people that are not going to see this completed till sometime in 2025, which sucks. Now, is it worth it? Would you be able to sell these off to somebody and at least get your money back out of them in 2025? Probably. I think so. I think that once the FansToys hype dies down, like everybody's got their FansToys and it's all, they've got it, and once FansToys start selling out, then the other options will start gaining back into value if you're just at least trying to get your money back out of it. But right away, you might have to fire sell it at a half or 75% of what you paid for them. That's just part of playing the game. So do I care that it's delayed, this FansToys Blitzkrieg? No, I don't. It doesn't bother me at all. But those people that have no representation, because they don't want to mess with reselling another option, they don't want to have something that's not, in their mind, the best of the best, the creme de la creme, and it's their collection, they get to pick what they want. They have a hole, and it's irritating. It's like, I've got a spot set up for this in my display, and I was expecting it by now. And I understand that frustration also, but you also have to know that it's FansToys. Sometimes they take a long time. Sometimes they get them out really fast, and sometimes they announce it, and it comes like a year later. It doesn't make any sense. It would be really frustrating if you get their Ultra Magnus before this. But anyway, let me know what you think about this whole situation, the cancellation, the delay, and let me know in the comments below when you think this is going to come out. I'm hearing 2046 is the new date. Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. Teddy Hanger out.